Hey there, Wargamers, Justin the Arm Painter here from Death Ray Designs, and today you guys are tuning in for my not sure what number vlog, but I know we've been kind of off the beaten path for a couple of weeks. Going into Adepticon, we were doing a whole bunch of like crunch mode in terms of trying to get a bunch of product cut for the con. We were releasing a new product line, which if you guys aren't familiar with that, it's the new series line, which is tailored mostly kind of towards a cyberpunk infinity style of aesthetic, but works perfectly for Warhammer 40k with just a simple change in the paint job. And all of the connecting system on it are deadlock system, means that a lot of the new series stuff is compatible with Deadbolt's bolt hold and our Warp Strider stuff, and vice versa. So there's a lot of interesting things you can do by intermingling those four sets together, simply by changing the paint color and mingling the parts, which is really, really cool. At the con, we also released our Vesta pointer, or Vesta, was it Vesta Station? Vesta Outpost, maybe? I should know these product names. But that was kind of our military wing or outpost that we wanted to put out for Adepticon that looked a bit more like it would fit the Warhammer 40k aesthetic, but also look like it would fit the US Ariadne, aesthetic as well for Infinity, because they're more like modern day technology, not so much sci-fi future laser beam weapons. So we wanted to have some terrain that fit those, and also we cater to the 40k crowd too. So if you haven't seen those bunker interlocking systems, check them out. They're super duper cool. And that leads me to my next point. For you guys who are following my vlogs, you know that I spent quite a few sessions showcasing where I was at on my Infinity Force for my US Ariadne models. I have completed those, and those models actually made it into the product art for the Vesta Station, or Vesta Point, Vesta Outpost. I should know these things. But they made it on that, which was actually pretty stellar, because it's one of the few times that some of my miniatures have actually made it onto our product packaging. Not that my stuff's not been good enough, I've just not always been around. I didn't have something that was really specific for what we were doing. And this particular time, this particular place, we were trying to put out some terrain that had a more military aesthetic. I was working on stuff that would match, and you know, bada bing, bada boom, everything lined up, which was pretty cool. I don't think I have any like professional photos taking that stuff yet, so if you guys would like to see it, let me know, and that might get me motivated to take some photos. So but on that note, that leads me into my next huge point, major point. I've been working on another army. If you guys don't follow me over on Twitch, then you might not know I've actually started. If you do, then this is just going to be a refresher for you, and you like to listen to me ramble. But on that note, let's go ahead and spin it around. I'll show you guys what I've been working on over the last like 3 weeks, and probably like 3 years left of time to finish it, because you know I paint slow, but we are definitely going to try. So let's whip it around. All right, folks, so you guys are used to seeing my hands in these types of scenes, and you might be curious to know what's coming. Now again, if you follow me on Twitch, then you are familiar with the scene, because this is the exact same setup, same camera, same everything that I use for Twitch. But that means if you don't follow me, you're not familiar with this, and you don't know what I'm about to show you. So first and foremost, let me show you what I'm not going to be working on. We're not working on any Nurgle models, but this is a Forge Fiend that JoJo, fallback from Twitchland, gave me that I could repaint and do something with. So we've got this, but this is not what we're working on. So whoop, let's just chuck that. If I could insert some After Effects here with some clanging noises and falling things, I would. But let's show you some of the miniatures on my workbench. Now there's a bunch, so we're not going to go through all of them, but I'll show you some of what I have been working on. Stop saying you're going to show us, and just show us. So I've been working on my Iron Warriors, folks. Now it's taken me forever to do everything, but I've currently in this process of doing the brass or bronze borders on these guys. Decals are down. I need to come in and do the black casing on the bolters, and maybe a little bit of blood effects on the bayonets on the guys that have it. And I want to come in and do a little bit of rust effects as well. And I believe I've got a miniature or two in here with some examples of kind of where I'm going. So I've got one in my hand here. I know there's one more, and you'd think I'd be super organized, but totally not. So I've got two here, and where's the third one? I think I did three. I definitely did three. Where's the third guy? Why are you hiding from me, buddy? He's probably disappointed because he's not Nurgle and should not be weathered, but he is. He was right here next to the other guy. All right, so get that guy out of the way. So here's kind of where we're going for not quite a final look, But what I kind of want to do, this guy was a little bit overboard on the rust effects, but I want something like this, just like if this is 100%, I want it down to like a 75 in terms of density. You know, I just want it to be a little bit more subtle, but I want it to, you know, be bright enough that it breaks up the panels. So I'm thinking he's looking pretty cool on that front. I also wish that I had more white decals because they show up a lot better than these silver ones. But it is what it is. So we've got that, bro. Here's another example of the rusty rust that we were doing. And this one is probably closer to the density and intensity that I wanted. And you can also tell that these shoulders have been washed and the ones in my left hand have not. So he's a lot more bright and clean, and I want him to look a little bit more dirty, which is what we've got here. Now, my final test mini was a little bit more subtle. The rust effects on his shoulder did not quite show up well because it was, I was using a different product, and it was just not quite red enough. So now that I know over the black, I need to use the original product that I used and just be more sparing. And we've got a bit more of a subtle discoloration and rust effect on his chest and his legs, which I think I want to conjoin these two rust effects kind of into one fusion and put those together and kind of go from there. I think that'll be cool. Now you'll notice his shoulder pads aren't washed yet either, so they'll be subdued more like that. We're also going to come in with some GW Nihilic Oxide, which will be the green color to tarnish up some of these nuts and bolts and shoulder panels, which I think is going to look really, really good. You know, as I said before, we still got to come in and do the bolt gun casings and the bayonets, a little bit blood effects and stuff like that. So we've got a whole bunch of those, bros. We've got quite a few Havocs. So using some Forge World bits, which I think is pretty cool. We've got some standard Devastator bits because I like these las cannons over the Chaos ones. Even though they're new Havocs that have come out, I don't like the shoulder mounted las cannon thing. It just looks weird to me, the one-hander heavy, so this is what we're going with. We've got the new Shadow Spear miniatures as well, which I'm not too stoked about some of the Tactical Marines and some of the spiky stuffs, but the actual autocannon minus this little chain down here looks pretty sweet. So, and again, all these guys are kind of in a similar state. We've got our, you know, little possessed dudes from Shadow Spear, which I'm not sure exactly how well they're going to fit into my Iron Warriors army, but we've got them. I've got some HQs and characters we can sift through and work on. It's like here's one a little bit lackluster, but we got him. Obviously, this guy has not been hit with the brass bronzy stuff yet, but that's kind of where we are. I've got, again, a whole bunch of infantry. We got our, I'll show you these. These are kind of cool. The unproxying these are standard Terminators, but we got some pre-heresy, was this Tartaros Terminators, I think? I would have preferred the Cataphracti. I think that's the ones that I wanted, or Cataphract, whatever it was. The more boxy tops, but this is what I had, and you work with what you got when you're on a budget. Only a small portion of this army was actually purchased. A lot of it was wheels and deals and trades. So I got what I got, and that's what we're going to work with. Some of the Sergeant models actually look really, really cool. So let me grab those. We got Sergeant for Squad Numero Uno. We got our Havoc Sergeant here. And where is Tactical Squad Sergeant Numero Dos? Here he is, in all of his glory. So here's Tactical Sergeant for Squad number 1. The iconography, finding the actual setup for these guys from pre-heresy was a little bit difficult. I am using these for 40k, but I wanted a pre-heresy kind of aesthetic. So we've got this iron within, iron without decals on the side of his chain sword. Got his iconography, his squad number, his battlefield role, which would be part of a tactical squad, and then he's got this little iron cross, which I'm assuming he's a veteran or something. It probably should have been on this shoulder and swapped the decal around, I'm not sure, but this is what we got. I'm doing kind of my own little twist on the Iron Warrior. Same thing with him, Squad Numero 2, and it says Ferrum Honor Vignette. For you guys out there who speak, let me actually show it on the screen. This says Ferrum Honor Vignette. For you guys who speak Latin, assuming that's a Latin, out there in Twitch land, YouTube land, and Facebook, if you want to tell me what that means, that'd be great. I'm assuming that means medal honors something. Ferrum, I believe, is medal honor with an E, because I had to move these closer. I'm assuming that's honor, so medal honors or honor medal something, but I don't know what vignette means, if I even pronounced it right, but I think I might have been close. But otherwise, same thing. We actually used a standard Space Marine head on this. So it's got a little respirator looking like Darth Maul. I was about to do a use the Force Luke thing, but I don't think Darth Maul would say that. I'm not sure if he actually said anything in the movies other than like scowling and showing his teeth and, you know, kicking ass. But anyways, we got that guy. And then the Sergeant for our Havoc Squad. Now you'll notice he's not rocking a chainsword and bolt pistol. He has got his bolter. And he's Havoc Squad number 1, Iron Warrior. And he's got his Iron Cross. And then he's got the 3 chevrons, which not all my heavies do, but I know that's supposed to be the fluffy thing for their heavies is the 3 chevrons, I think. But we did this, and the standard Havocs don't actually have that on them. They have the 2 chevrons or the triangle or whatever. So I figure, you know, if anyone was going to at least have it, it would be the Sarge. So the Sarge does have it, and I think he looks pretty cool. And then with the fact that he's probably going to be Marcus Slanesh, obviously, being able to double tap makes sense with him having his bolter and not moving, which is cool. The downside is they changed Havocs, and I've got a Blade of Wounds in the squad. And what I mean is I have extra models that would exceed the 5-man unit strength. And GWS saw fit to make the max size for squad 5, toughness 5, and that's it. I mean, yeah, I guess you can move and not take a penalty, but that's kind of whack. I don't care for that. I also think it's kind of stupid that a Havoc is now T5 and this guy's T4. That seems dumb, personally. And for you guys out there who are curious about size comparison, there is new bro and old bro. So these guys are considerably taller, noticeably taller, probably like, what, 30%, 20%, maybe 20% taller, 25%, 20%, something like that. So they are bigger and bulkier, but this is what we got. If I could get this in this scale, I think if they actually did that, I think these would fly off the shelves. All their pre-heresy armor would just evaporate overnight because people would want it if they actually true scaled it. But it is what it is. We got what we got. As Jason from the Discord and the Twitch community would say, you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. So we got this little bro, you know, we got a whole bunch of HQs we're working on. So we got our hazard stripes down, you know, some decals dropped, and you know, again, we got to get all the brass and bronze stuff on them and weather them up, and I think he'll look cool. And one of the things that I'm really excited about doing is with the basing, I want to go with like a Martian kind of theme and some DRD basing materials and kick up some of that rusty dust on their legs, and I think that's going to help break up all the silver, which I think is going to look really good. I dropped a decal here that's like got these wings and this number 4 because the 4th Legion. In hindsight, I probably either should have put it there or done smaller hazard stripes on legs because it kind of blows it out, but we'll weather it up and we'll do what we can do. So we got his shoulders so far, and that's where we are on him. And ironically enough, I made a trade for this guy before I knew that they were going to change Chaos. All this Chaos stuff was built, and I started it before they even announced we were getting new stuff and before we got a new codex. So bought a codex, bought data cards that are now outdated, yippee skippy. But at the time, you couldn't use a Thunderhammer, so I was gonna have to proxy this as like a Black Mace or something. But now, they have officially announced they're releasing this guy in a single, and they've updated the Chaos Codex, so our HQs can take Thunderhammers now, which is exciting. So this guy actually won't have to be a proxy, won't have to be forced to use a relic. He'll still have to use this as some kind of combi, because it's a combi Volkite, but you know, combi Plasma, combi something. That's a good count as bit, even though it's real. But I think Plasma's probably the closest one to looking aesthetically like that. I'm not sure if they have a relic ranged weapon, but that would be good for a relic ranged weapon, because he's an ancient ass armor. And again, so we've got our dude from Blackstone Fortress, and we're painting him up as an Iron Warrior, even though he is supposed to be Black Legion. But who likes Abaddon? I like Abaddon because I bought the damn model. And he's over there behind me, waiting to be assembled. So we've got our Chaos Sorcerer ready to roll. Just got to start detailing him up. I say all this like it's going to be fast. It's not. It's going to be slow. It's the way we do. I'm not going to go through all the HQs, just some of the cool ones. I mean, they're all cool, but you know what I mean. So we got this guy, and he has no shoulders that are visible, so you can't really get your chapter or Legion iconography on there, so I did the hazard stripes on his leg. The silvers are looking pretty good on him so far. You know, so I'll come in here and we'll edge highlight with a bright silver, and we'll start boxing in the colors, and I think he's really going to come together and look pretty snazzy, so I'm excited about that. I did some testing on flesh tones for the obliterators and all of my demon engines, and if you guys from Twitchland and YouTube and Facebook, all you guys on social media who follow me, you know when I do flesh tones, I really like using purple washes and stuff. I took some something from to heart that Austin said he had seen somebody do. I think it was one of the Greater Possessed, one or it might have been a poxwalker, I'm not sure, but somebody who was mutated, and he went from like a flesh into a pink transition. Now, this guy wasn't quite as drastic as what he saw, but I started with a Screamer pink base and built up the flesh tones and used some, I believe it was Corberg Crimson, and then used a little bit of Druchii Violet, as I do in the recesses for some targeted darkness. But I'm really liking how that looks so far. I think it's a great contrast to the silver and the black. Once we bronze this guy up and then put in the rest of the flesh, I think he's really going to look cool. And I think the rest of the demon engines are going to benefit from that same kind of color, like down to, you know, our Venom crawler fella, you know, even having his little flesh sack back here and down in here, all that stuff, that this same color, I think is going to look pretty cool. And since we've got the Venom crawler out, we might as well show you what we got going on with him so far. And you can see, because he's just got a lot of metallics going on right here. And, you know, for basic tabletop, you could probably just base this, call it good, and throw it down. But that's not what Justin does. You guys follow me, you know what I do. I go above and beyond, and I will make it complicated because it's how I roll. A joke I made a while back was leave it to Death Ray Designs to make things Death Ray difficult. Austin does not do that with painting. He's super fast, but everything else, he has some interesting mechanical complexities that he likes to rig up to do whatever he does because it's fun and entertaining. With me, I'm Death Ray difficult when it comes to painting. I'm very slow, and it's just part of what I do. So, but this is kind of where we are on him. I wasn't super pleased with the way the hazard stripes turned out. I think they were a little bit too intense, or maybe the kind of point to them, I should have just went straight across. Might have looked a little bit better, but once I got the brass, coppery, bronzy color on there, it helped break that up, and I'm not too displeased. And once we weather it, get some rust streaks, and get some of that Nalic oxide in here, I think it's going to actually look pretty good. Not too displeased at this point, now that I've got some colors boxed in on it. We've got our slightly modified Leviathan looking pretty good. Hard to tell here because this is black and not silver, but once we get the brassy bronze stuff done on the little metal plates here, that'll differentiate and help do have a distinction between silver and black, and we'll rust that up and streak it. In hindsight, I'm not super pleased with how all these hazard stripes came out modified wise. We'll weather them up and do whatever, but I feel like maybe this one long one across here is kind of just taken away from me. Maybe you guys disagree. Maybe you think it looks cool. Maybe I'm just overthinking it. These will look good once we weather all this up, get some streaks, but I'm very happy with the way the metallics are going so far. Still got to box in some actual black colors, like on the casing of the bolters, like, because this is a lot of silver, but I want to break that up with at least a little bit of something. Now the black's still neutral, which is why I'm excited to get the brassy bronze stuff in there, and we'll splash some color on these rocket pods and whatnot. And that's also why I really wanted some rust streaks and the Nalic oxide on here, because all of those, the bright reds, the pale green from the oxidation, and the little bit of color we'll have on the tips of these flamers, like those little things are really gonna help break up how much silver is here. And I never really thought about it until I started looking at this, because like if this guy was blue like an ultramarine, it would be normal. We'd hit him with edge highlights and weather him and whatever. But because it is full metallics, it's just got a different look. And again, maybe I'm overthinking it, but I'm not super pleased with just pure metallics. Not that it doesn't look bad with the transitions and whatnot, but it's just, it's hard. It's a different look for the eye to absorb. So what do you guys think? You think he's cool? Hopefully you do. If not, be kind. Hopefully he'll be on the tabletop soon. I do have another Forge Fiend that's behind me. I'm not going to grab it, but I'll show you the Mauler Fiend, who looks a little bit better. His hazard stripes came out quite nice and very striking. We have to get all those armor panels boxed in with the colors and start weathering them, but I think, and get all of our a little bit of fleshy bits in here, like down in here, around his hands, up under his neck, all these fleshy parts. We'll get all that to try and match what we did on the Obliterator, but I think he'll look pretty good. Finally, to wrap up some of the Iron Warrior stuff here, we've got I've got 3 Predators. Here's the current state of those. Need to get weathered up. We got dozer blades for them. Got to get a little bit of OSL on there, but I'm pretty pleased with where these currently are. Look very nice. Very nice. We've got our Sakaran battle tank. And happy with the decals came out on this. Iron within, iron without. Side decal looking pretty slick. Decals up top with a little bit of masking. You can do a lot of work with masking, folks. This was all masking and decals and airbrushing. But we got to come back in and do some weathering, get some streaks, some chipping and all that stuff, get our treads painted up and get a little dust of orange up on here for the rusty Martian Earth. I'm not sure exactly how I want to do that. I know we got weathering pigments. I know the way I would do it on infantry, but on tanks, because I want it to be more dense, I got to figure out how I want to do it. So I might use a little bit of airbrush to box in some orange, very, very thin, and then perhaps after that we'll do some weathering pigments and such. Now I've got some poxwalkers here. I'll just grab a bro or two and kind of just give you a quick little preview of where we are. And I'm grabbing one other model while I'm at it. Here we go. So I got down our colors on our Cultist Bros, and this guy's got the heavy stubber, and he's got Orlock arms, Tempestus Scion head, and Genestealer Cult body and backpack, which is very, very cool. And that whole unit is a hodgepodge of Genestealer Cult, Orlocks, and standard Cultist, well, Blackstone Fortress Cultist, Traitor Guardsmen rather. So we got 44 of those types of dudes to do, and here is one of our 30 Poxwalkers. So I got to get in and do a couple small details, rusty up or metallic up this blade and rust it, maybe do a little bit of bloat effects on his open sores and some pus effects and stuff. But for the amount of time I invested in the Poxwalkers, I think they look pretty good so far. And to wrap up our Iron Warriors, which I know I just said, but we're going to say it again to wrap them up slightly. One of the things that I showcased on stream that you guys watched, and if you watched, and you guys were concerned about, was dropping decals. So we are going to be doing some tutorials soon. I'll show you guys how to do it in a good fashion and try and get that painted on look. But this is where we are on one of our rhinos, right? And here are our side hatches. Right? But the major concern that you guys had from Twitch land was how I was doing the top hatches. Now, these are Forge World decals that are meant for a banner or standard, and I repurposed them for the top of a Rhino hatch. And with the process that I do, we got these on with slight difficulty, but minimal issues in the end. We have a couple wrinkles, but once we weather it, those are going to be pretty seamless and make sense. But these are some techniques you guys will learn in some upcoming tutorial videos that we're going to be doing, and we won't be using decals quite this big, but the process will be the same. And I'll show you guys exactly how I drop decals and the process that I take to get them on, to get this this finish where you can hardly see, if see at all, the edge where it transitions into the actual plastic, so you get that painted on look. And these really become seamless once you start weathering and adding rust effects and streaks. So those are one of the big things that we talked about on Twitch, and you guys watched me do, or might have watched me do. Some of you guys may or may not know, I am slated to go to Nova this year as well, and I want to paint this guy up as in non-metallic colors and try and push myself. I've only done it once before, and it was in a very, very small, limited capacity, so I really want to work on Perturabo. It means a lot to me, so you guys will get to see me working on that soon. And finally, the last two things we'll cover in the miniature world. If you aren't following me on Twitch, you're not aware. If you are, then this is a repeat, but I did qualify for the Creature Creator Program from CreatureCaster probably about a month ago now. I got the email back after applying. I got accepted. Jason Craze from Monument Games, who's partnered up with CreatureCaster, got the email, accepted me, and I got some cool goodies from them. So on stream with the Iron Warriors, I've been working with some of their new Pro Acryl or Pro Acrylics paints, which I really am enjoying these so far. And while I did get a discount on some of the stuff, some of the things I did by myself, so I'm not obligated, or don't feel obligated to give glaringly positive reviews just to do it. So if you guys have any questions about what I'm working with, I will give you an honest, politely delivered review of what have been, or what my experiences have been. I also picked up one of their Kolinsky Sable brushes, because there's three things in the hobby world that I like to tinker with. I love trying out new Kolinsky brushes. It's a thing. I like hunting for new metallic paints, and I like hunting for new flesh paints. If I had the money, I would be hunting down more airbrushes, but those get a little expensive. So we've got that, and I've got a couple of CreatureCaster miniatures that we'll be painting up on Twitch, and one of them is going to also be something I want to enter into a contest or painting contest at Nova as well, and it is the Emperor Dragon from CreatureCaster. He looks super cool, and I'm excited to do that. Now, finally, the last big update. We finally finished this chaplain on stream during our Tutorial Tuesday series over on Twitch, And this guy, he does not have a colored shoulder pad here in this very small section of black, because I figured maybe whoever wins it might want to have me just drop a little bit of color in there to match their Legion or chapter. But I walked you guys over the course of 4 or 5 weeks through the whole process on everything I did on this miniature, and you guys that happen to pop in the stream when I announce it will have the opportunity to try and win this bro. If you're overseas, we request that you cover the shipping, but if you're in the States, we'll drop it to you postage paid. We'll cover it, basically, and you can add this to your army. So if you are not currently a follower, or maybe even an awesome badass subscriber over on Twitch, check me out at www.twitch.tv.com/AMP services. And hopefully we will catch you over there soon. We're trying to get back on track and do one battle report a week that'll air before my live streams on Saturday nights. And I would like to get to a point where we are doing some live stream hobby hangout sessions that might include some of the other guys from DRD, as well as maybe some live streamed games at some point. So, but again, if you guys aren't checking me out over there, make sure you pop on over. With that being said, let's go ahead and whip around. We'll give you guys some final notes and let you guys get on with your day. Alright guys, so I'd like to thank you guys for hanging out and listening to me ramble about what my current project is. I'm not sure how long it's going to take me to get finished with these Iron Warriors, but I'm definitely trying. I know for all you guys who follow our channel and enjoy the battle reports and not just me rambling or my Twitch stream, or maybe you like all three. But if you happen to really enjoy those battle reports, you're probably really getting tired of seeing Dark Angels 99% of the time. So while that army, I hold it dear to my heart for obvious reasons, these Iron Warriors are coming along pretty well too, and I've got some interesting fluff perspectives on why they are the way they are and what I'm doing with them. If you ever happen to pop into Twitch, you might hear me talk about those. If you want to know, drop a comment, pop in Twitch, ask me a question while I'm live. I'll let you know what my thoughts are with them. But the intention is to get these done as quickly as I can. I'd like to have them done before Nova, hopefully well before Nova if I can, and be able to film some battle reports with them. If I can get them done before Nova, I'd like to bring them and or perhaps my Dark Angels to Nova this year at the end of August, and be able to play some games in a casual format with some of you guys from the community or people from the Garrison, and or both. If you like what we do here and you want to see us continue, please check us out over at deathradesigns.com. Anything you do over there helps keep the lights on and helps keep me employed, and I like doing what I do. Hopefully you enjoy listening to me ramble. If you're to this point in the video, hopefully you do. So make sure you head on over there and check it out. If you want to save a little bit of cash, which who doesn't, you can use the coupon code GETAMPED10. That will save you 10%. Not a lot of people know that. I don't shout that out in every video, but hopefully that will help you out and encourage you to pull the trigger on picking up some products. So with all that being said, folks, I'd again like to thank you out for with that all being said, folks, I'd like to again thank you for hanging out with me today. Hopefully you've enjoyed this. If you have any questions, critiques, suggestions, make sure you chime off in the comments below. Hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to us if you're watching over on YouTube. If you're watching on Facebook, smash a like, drop us a comment. And if you're watching this over on Twitch, make sure you also follow the page and consider subscribing as well. With that being said, folks, again, for like the 50,000th time, I'd like to thank you again for hanging out with me today. I really do appreciate it. I cannot express that enough. But we're going to sign off. So as always, folks, happy wargaming.